Hello, Ms. Martinez. I have an appointment right now with Mrs. Amin, and I have here in my notes that during our last visit, her husband dominated the conversation. And I was hoping by changing the appointment time, it would allow her to come in alone. However, she didn't, and I noticed that he's in the waiting room with her. Do you think you can possibly hold some of the insurance forms he needs to fill out so that we can call him out of the appointment and give Mrs. Amin a moment alone? Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Amin. Thank you for coming today, even though I had to reschedule our appointment. I'm very sorry for any inconvenience it may have caused you both.
Yes, well, it's very inconvenient for my husband to have to change his schedule on such short notice. I do not think this physical appointment was even necessary, but my son kept insisting that it was about time that I go to the doctor.
Again, I am so sorry that it was inconvenient for you, but I am glad that your son wanted you to come in today. I may be biased, being a doctor, but annual appointments are important, even if it's just for maintaining health.
My husband wants me to let you know that he is short on time, so we can get to the point.
Oh, of course. It says here in my chart that there is a history of breast and pelvic cancer of your immediate family, so your son may be right in asking you to come in today. I would like to do a pelvic and breast exam to just make sure that there are no internal signs of either cancer.
I'll tell you just as I told my son. I feel fine, and my husband and I feel that I do not need to have any exams. I just came here to get my son off my back.
So you say you feel fine, but it is common that some cancers do not show symptoms, so it is better to be proactive. I want you to feel comfortable and do whatever it is you think is best. However, just to put your son's mind at ease, do you think you are willing to participate in my exam?
I just do not see the point in it. I said it many times already that I feel fine, and my husband has to get back to work. He does not have time for me to have an exam today.
I understand. Would you like to reschedule for a time when your husband has more time to spend here with us? Oh, excuse me. Hello? I'm sorry, what was that, Mrs. Martinez? Oh, okay. Okay, no problem. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry. It seems like there's an issue with your paperwork. Mrs. Amin, would you mind stepping into the nurse's station to correct the paperwork about your insurance?
Well, I do not handle my insurance, so I would not know anything about it. My husband usually takes care of all that.
While I understand you're on a time crunch, it may be a little more time consuming for you two to go together, but that's all right. I'll wait.
No, it is okay. That will take too long. I will stay here to finish up. Honey, can you go take care of the paperwork so we can get out of here faster?
So while we wait for your husband to return, would you mind telling me why your son felt it was so important for you to come here?
It was my son who wanted me to come in because of my family history of cancer. You see, he does not want me to have to go through what his grandmother and aunts went through. He worries about me, but this is a waste of time since I am feeling healthy.
Is there any other reasons why you think your son feels so strongly about you coming in for a checkup?
Well, to be honest, it was about this age that my mother and my sisters began having their issues with breast and pelvic cancer.
Oh, so your mother and your sisters began getting sick in their late 40s as well. While I have you here, would you mind telling me more about that?
My mother and sisters started showing symptoms of cancer around my age. My mother and one of my sisters noticed a lump on her breast, and when they went to the doctor to get checked, the doctors found out it was breast cancer and it was advanced. My other sister found out she had ovarian cancer, also at an advanced stage, while getting a pelvic exam. This is why my son wanted me to come here today, because he's concerned about me. You see, it is my husband that thinks I should be fine since we are no longer sexually active and are finished having children, and I have to trust his judgment. You may not understand or see his perspective because he thinks once a person starts taking tests, it only puts a negative spin on things, and you should just live every day to the best of your abilities. Although, personally, I sometimes do get nervous about the idea of cancer because it was so quick to affect my mother and my sisters. And my husband thinks I'm fine, and he does not believe I should come to these appointments alone. It is his personal preference, and as his wife, I must respect that.
I completely understand. There are many women who feel the same way. There are options, though, when it comes to being proactive about your health that one can do to not interfere with your husband's preferences. There are many different exams, not only here at the hospital, not only here at home for home testing, but here at the hospital, that we can offer you to make sure that we are doing the most to protect you against these cancers. Do you have any questions so far?
Yes, I do not understand the need to get these tests done, but since we are talking about the options, would you tell me the different tests there are and how it can help protect me against these cancers?
Of course. I'm glad that you asked. So first, let's talk about the pelvic exam. There are these tests such as a pap smear to screen for cervical cancer and can also help identify ovarian and uterine cancer. So there's also a manual exams which check for female organs such as fallopian tubes, ovaries, and check for tumors. Now let's talk about the breast exams. Being that you have reached your 40s, it is about the time that we would recommend annual mammograms, which include a physical breast exam to feel for any lumps that could potentially be cancer at its earliest stages. Mrs. Amin, I do not mean to scare you, and I understand that this information is very overwhelming. But it is important to me as your doctor to make sure you have all the information you need to make the best decision about your health. So I explained the different options. Do you think you are at all interested?
Actually, I am, but I'm just nervous. I do not want my husband to think that I am doing anything behind his back. I understand his point of view, and I want him to know that I trust and respect his opinions.
So you're saying you are interested in some proactive information, but are unsure about how to approach it to your husband?
Yes, exactly. I just don't want to upset him because I think he feels like if I start getting tests, it will only affect my chance of cancer negatively. My son and husband tend to have a lot of discussion about it.
Well, it's nice to hear that your husband and son care so much about your health to have those conversations. How would you describe your relationship with your family?
We are very close. Since my mother and sisters have both passed, it is my son and my husband who have kept me together.
So it is your family that are giving you strength, you say?
Yes, exactly. As my son has gotten older, he understands the seriousness of the illness and the importance of a healthy lifestyle. He is such a smart, kind young man, and his father and I are very proud of him.
How would you describe your relationship between your husband and son?
It is so strong. They are very close, and I can tell my husband respects our son and values his opinion now that he is older.
So as I previously said, there are some options when it comes to ways to get the proper testing to be proactive about this cancer. So on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being not important at all and 10 being very important, how essential is it to you to seek out preventative care and testing?
Well, if I'm talking in terms of my husband, then I will say 3, but in terms of my son, a 10.
I understand how important your family's opinion is, and it is wonderful that you have such a strong support system. But this is your body, and as my patient, I want you to make a decision that you are comfortable with.
Well, I guess if it were up to me, I would do the test. It's better to know than to live life not knowing. Even though I'm still hesitant about the testing because of my husband's opinion, and I believe I live a rather healthy lifestyle, since I eat healthy and make sure to eat foods rich in vitamins, as well as take my daily pill vitamins, along with regular exercise.
That's great to hear that you are taking such good care of yourself, but there is only so much that you can do. So as I previously stated, it is easy for some signs and symptoms of cancer to go unnoticed, and it is very important to catch these things early rather than later for a better prognosis. So like I originally said about options, I think since your family is so important to you, it would only make sense to involve them. So Mrs. Amin, I know you said your husband is not really fond of the idea of testing, but your son is. Do you think that maybe your husband would agree to let your son accompany you to your next appointment where we can perform some of the tests that I was telling you about in order to be proactive about this?
Well, I wasn't aware that the signs and symptoms of cancer could go unnoticed. I just assumed that if I started to experience them, I would deal with it at that point. But now I'm concerned that when I start feeling symptoms, it will be in an advanced stage. Maybe it is a better idea to try and come in for the different exams. That was a good idea about asking my son to accompany me. I was actually thinking of that myself. My husband has been talking about how much older and more mature our son has gotten. So since he does not want me to come to these appointments alone, I could suggest our son comes with me in his place.
How do you think your son would feel about that?
Actually, I think he would appreciate the opportunity to be involved in my health and be happy to know that his father trusts him with the task.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Amin, if the paperwork was too time-consuming. Your wife and I were just talking about your son, and the last time I saw him, he was such a young boy.
I was telling her how you think he has grown up to be a very smart, kind-hearted man.
Okay, so, well, I know you guys have to get going, but I wanted to go over what we talked about while you were out, Mr. Amin. I was just explaining to your wife about the different types of tests that we could eventually perform in order to check for the various types of cancers that your wife is susceptible to. So your wife was telling me that because of her healthy lifestyle, you think it may be unnecessary to participate in the testing. But I have to advise you of the importance of not only a healthy lifestyle, but the impact of genetics. There is a strong likelihood of catching the cancer early that we did not have when caring for her mother and sisters, and have the potential of changing an outcome for her. However, I respect the decision you guys are making, so I understand that at this moment we are going to opt out of the exam. But here are some pamphlets to explain different ways that we can perform at-home testing for breast cancer that have been proven effective. Do you guys have any other questions or concerns?
No, not at the time. That will be all.
If you have any questions or are willing to schedule an appointment for the different types of testing, you have my direct line and extension and can call me.
Thank you. We appreciate you being understanding through this whole process.
There is no need to thank me. It is my job to provide you with all the information you need to help in prevention, and I'm here if you need to talk about any concerns about any signs and symptoms.